child, I was bubbly and very much excited with life. I had a promising and admirable childhood. That was not to last beyond my teenage years. Something happened. I found out that I was pregnant. It was devastating, scary, and I felt lost. Right now, I'm the administrator in Kenya Outreach Social Women Empowerment Program. We empower women and we mentor young girls and young mothers to see them raising back from brokenness and being empowered to become who they are. My name is Jenga, and this is my story.
You're doing a good job, don't get too down. The world needs you now. Know that you matter, yeah.
Hi guys, how are you? It's a pleasure and an honor to be able to introduce you to our new show. My name is Nina Wambua. On behalf of Ep01, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us today on our new show, TAI. TAI means Talk, Activate, Ignite. And we are so blessed as an organization to be able to introduce you to our show. Ep01 is an organization that stands for children, basically in Embakasi West. We have been doing mentorship in all the 11 Embakasi West schools. And we also have projects where we give out sanitary pads to the girls. We also paint classes in a project called Adopt a Class. So through Ep01, we've decided to start this show. And it's an honor to be able to do this. So I'd like to introduce you to our first guest. Oh, her name is Diana. She is an amazing woman, my friend. First of all, she's my friend. And a great mentor, a great mother. So I'll let her introduce herself so that nisichome picha sana. So welcome, my dear. Thank you so much for joining us. Kindly tell us about yourself.
Thank you. My name is Diana Jenga. I'm a mother of 2, and also I'm the firstborn of a family of 3. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share my journey and also my testimony of how I got pregnant at teenage. I was only 14 before I turned 15 years.
Wow. And those must have been not the days of today where pregnancy is normal quote unquote.
Yes.
14 years ago was a big issue to be pregnant. This means you were in class?
I was in class 8.
First of all, tell us, this is the book. Our book is How Jesus Restored My Worth. So we're going to talk about your book. Now let's talk about that part of pregnancy. Wow, 14. How did you feel at that age being pregnant and in class 8?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll first take you back to when I was 5 years.
Okay.
As a young child, I was very bubbly, full of life. But in between, I started having attacks about fear.
Okay.
I would have dreams or see spiders, and then I would get scared. Okay. And in my relationship growing up, I did not really find someone who would understand why I was having nightmares, kind of. So to me, I quelled down. Okay. It really slowed me down. And now, out of the curiosity of looking for someone who can understand or tell me what, I landed into an early kind of a relationship. Okay. And I found out I was pregnant. It was not easy. It was devastating.
How did your parents react to this?
They were shocked because it's not something that they had anticipated. It's something that just happened. And I did not talk about it. I kept quiet at the same time. And I enrolled for Form 1. I joined high school because I got pregnant when I was in class 8. And then results came out, I was still pregnant. And I still went ahead without saying I'm pregnant to join Form 1.
And nobody could see any changes in you? Or it was not visible, or they ignored it, or what do you think? No.
When I became aware that I was pregnant, the first thing that I thought was abortion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, having been raised in a Christian family, that was a bit scary. And I did not have the confidence to do it. And at the same time, I decided I need to keep my baby and I need to hide my baby. So I started wearing bigger, jumpy clothes.
Okay.
And how I had that wisdom, I don't know. It was only a gift from God.
Okay.
I started hiding and covering myself with bigger clothes. And so the conversation and the whispers would go around and people would say like, kwani wazazi wako hawaoni uko na mimba?
This time is in Form 1. You're in Form 1, yeah?
Yes.
Boarding school?
Yes.
Okay.
So the question, yes, was arising, but my parents also could not come through with that thought that their only daughter is pregnant at 14.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Fast forward, you got the baby. Now what happens now when you're still in school with the baby, or your parents are not taking care of the baby?
I had to leave school and then come back home and give birth to a young man who is now in college.
Awesome.
But in the transition of giving birth and staying with my family, and I went into depression at that very early age, and no one could understand, why are you so quiet? Why are you so moody? No one understood that my world has just come down crumbling. I had dreams, I had visions, I had aspirations, but all of a sudden, everything is gone. So for me, inside of me, I gave up of life. I was like, I have lost my worth. And that brought a place of not wanting even to pursue going back to school.
Okay.
But my parents were very persistent. After I breastfed my son for 9 months, the following year, I went back to school. And I was able to begin again.
Wow, that's awesome.
From Form 1 to Form 4, and I finished well. So I had to leave my baby with my parents, and they were very supportive to raise him up and also to pay for my school fees and to cater for my needs. It was not easy because at that time, they were also struggling to raise their own children. Remember, I am the firstborn. I have siblings behind me. They were in school. So they had to reprogram themselves to accommodate the new blessing.
We thank God at least they were able to raise your child with you at that time and help
absolutely.
you. Now you're back in school. You finished Form 4.
Yes.
Then after Form 4, what happened next?
I went to college, but my going to college was not what I wanted to pursue. My mom thought, as a parent, she would give me a course that is more of a skill course, so that I will be able to settle and raise my child.
Your child, yeah.
So it was not a course that I wanted to do. It was my parents' choice, especially my mom, because of her interest in beauty. She wanted me to pursue beauty and therapy in college, and I went for a whole year. But in between, another challenge came in. I got myself into a relationship at the end of my college, and I got working, and I got pregnant again.
Wow.
I'm not married. I'm still in my parents' place. I'm not even established. It was the little hope that I was building up within myself, like I have a bright future or I've been given a second chance. All of a sudden, darkness was full on my journey. It was so crushing. It was beyond something that I would even right now, when I look back at it, it was only God who helped me to transition and even not to think about suicide.
Thank God for that. Exactly. That was my point. My next question. My question is, did you ever feel like you are a failure? How did you feel at that moment when now this is another baby?
Yeah.
You're in a relationship, not married, a baby, second baby.
Yes.
So how, what was your reaction to this? How did you feel as a child? I'll still call you a child then, because you were still.
I was still 21.
Yeah. So how were you feeling about that?
It was an overwhelming feeling. It was not easy. It was something that I would not even wish to my worst enemy. And at the same time, I would say this to our viewers, that if you ever find yourself in a place where you have a teenage daughter who is expectant, your word matters so much, because how you tell your daughter in the place of failure, in that place of brokenness, it will shape them to rise back again or to crush them completely. So to our viewers and to everyone who will be listening to us, even as we continue to share the goodness of God, always be keen. Even if you find a teenage who is not your daughter, who is not your relative, but a teenage daughter who is expectant or who has a young baby, always be very keen to guide them in the words that you speak, because in that moment they are so broken, they are so lost. The best thing you can do for them is to build hope in them, assure them there's a brighter future and there's a hope for tomorrow.
Wow.
Yes. I know.
Now let me ask you, if you would go back, okay, to those, I won't say class 8, to now this second part of your life where you're another mother again, would you ever change anything from the past? Would you make better choices? Do you think you have any regrets from the past?
Yes, I would say there are regrets, but if I never went that journey, I wouldn't be here to share the goodness of God. Because in the journey of purpose, you find that the challenges that come our way are kind of things that has to give you the strength and the stamina and the capacity also to be able to handle what God has in store for you. In my journey of purpose, I'm an effective parenting mentor. I talk to young mothers. How would I share with them if I never went through the pain? How do I explain to them that it's a struggle when you make choices, you find yourself, you're pregnant, you are a mother, and you don't have income, you're in the midst of people who are not speaking well about you. How do you overcome such challenges? But where I am right now, I'm able to tell someone that there's a hope for your future amidst the failure or the mistakes per se, because you're pregnant and you don't know where to go or how to run about it. Yes.
Especially in this season where we are in with COVID and children not being in school and parents being overwhelmed with spending so much time with your children, because people are not used to, especially teens.
Yes.
So if it's either they're on the TV or they're outside. So as parents, as a parent now,
yes,
what would you tell the parents and how to deal with the teenagers? Okay, let me put it this way. Do you think that if you got the attention and the love that you ended up sorting from outside, maybe from your parents, would anything have been different?
I would say yes, and also I would say no. My yes is because when you understand your child, remember, you did not just birth this child and all of a sudden they are teenagers. You have carried them 9 months. There's that support of the father. Then you have watched them grow step by step to see them growing. So by the time they are becoming teenagers, number one is their relationship that you're brooding all along in that journey. And the no part is because my parents probably were coming from a brokenness, and broken parents raise broken children. And we can never assume that. We are seeing in our everyday society that families, there's violence, there's abuse, there's pain everywhere. So when you're growing in such an environment, you need to understand yourself. You have to become self-aware about yourself, and you have to pursue healing as an individual, and that will mean and transform you to become better, and also your choices will be better. So for me, I would say, as to the parents that have teenagers in their homes, you need to have conversations. The way you used to discipline those children when they were younger, when they become teenagers, it has to change. The way you used to relate in the conversations. Remember, these are people now, they are looking for their identity. Who am I? They are trying to make decisions. They are trying to know and experience the world. That is why we are finding so many of our teenagers are online. They are watching movies. That is the time where, as a parent, you must discipline. But the way of disciplining them also matters. Are you doing it out of love, or you're doing it out of anger? because your expectation of what you expected your child to behave is not how they are doing. So all these are variations and things that surround you to become a better parent to your child and also to the society, because when we have healthy children, they are the pillars of that generation.
Awesome.
Yes.
Amen. Wow. When I got this book, not because you're my friend,
Yes.
but I bought it, and within a day, I had finished it. And when I look at this book, it's a story I would like. The pain in it, you can read it and you can feel it. It's tangible. By the way, she even went to London in those days. You know how, no matter how, they still London in the story. So you need to buy the book and read it for yourself and read the story of an amazing woman of God who is here to tell the testimony. So Dee,
Yes.
when you look at your book, you know,
Yes.
you see your story and everything about it. What do you feel when you look at your book? How do you feel about it?
I feel honor and humility before God because He entrusted me with pain. Now He has entrusted me to share my story so that others who are in such dark place, they can have the hope and the strength to rise back again.
Awesome.
Yes.
When I listen to your story, I am blessed to be able to read it, and I'm blessed that you're able to share it.
Yes.
Now, when you look at your two sons, I'm sure you're a proud mom of big two. The other one was a son. I've already given it out before you told
Yes.
them. Your two sons, how do you feel about them? Do they know your story?
Yes, they have.
You shared it
because
with them.
every day you have to engage them in the places of their decisions. And then you have to come from a place where this is how I did it. And I want you to be in a place where you are choosing and making decisions from a wise place. I don't want you to pass through the same path that I went. Because when, again, I became a believer and born again, I had to change the narrative. I had to gain the courage and the stamina to be able to say, this has to end with me. My children do not have to go through what I went through. Yes, I have had challenges raising them.
Yeah.
And I really thank God for the support of my family. And in between of raising them, I've also made mistakes concerning relationships. And I had to make decisions based on what do I really want? Is it the future of my children or is it the future of my life? And I had to decide this is a generation and I have to leave a legacy. So many other times that I had to make sacrifices. I wouldn't say that I'm proud. I would say I'm really grateful to God.
Awesome.
That He entrusted me with such a noble responsibility.
Awesome. That is awesome. Because what I know in life is the destiny is a process. It's an ongoing journey. And
Absolutely.
right now, every single choice we make leads to our destiny. And
Yes.
sometimes we as people, when we grow, we think that our failures are, our destiny is halted. Yes, it might be like stalled because of our choices. But also what I know is everything that we do creates a path for our destiny.
Yes.
So what do you think you can tell the young girls who are out there, who are watching us, and on what they can do, on the path they can choose in this age, in this generation that we are in?
What I would tell young girls, especially those who are in the transition of class 7, class 8, Form 1, up to Form 4, and even younger girls, one of the things that we also have to tell them that they have to be honest with themselves. They have to acknowledge it is painful of the situation of what they are seeing in their parents, but then that does not have to define who you become. That you are an individual, you have the right and the opportunity to make choices. And what kind of choices are you making? Do you want to repeat the same cycle? Like what you are trying to run away from. Probably you come from a family where your father comes home when he's drunk and you're always scared and you don't even know how to go about it. And again, maybe your mother keep on shouting at you. You don't have a relationship with her. She keeps on offending you. I want to tell you, yes, those things happen every day in our lives. In our society, we hear such stories. But that does not have to define who you become. You have to make choices, and your choice and that decision must come from a place of knowing who you are. I would want to tell the girls, first answer the question of who are you? Because when you answer that question, know that you are a girl, you are also a female, you're also a woman. Number one, you are a female. As a girl, she's a female. Then again, to our young boys, they also need to know that masculinity is not defined by the virtue of how many girls they sleep around with. And for a girl, you have the right to say no. You don't have to sleep with anyone. I'm talking this from a place of experience, and also as a mother, and also as a mentor, that we have really yani tumepuuza sex and the sex it's conversation.
Like it's normal.
Yes, which is very wrong because these are things that we need to be keen also to talk to our children.
Okay, so this 14-year-old girl,
yes,
in this season of COVID where we've been home with our parents, then I find myself I'm pregnant. First of all, where do I start from? Who do I turn to? Do I tell my mom? How can you talk to me now? I'm the 14-year-old girl. What would you tell me?
Number one, the aspect of realizing that you are pregnant, that is the first step. And now that you have come on board to ask, how do I go about it? Are you close to your mother? That is the first thing I would ask you. And at the same time, if your answer is no, then who is close to you? Is it your auntie? Do you have any relative that is closer, or do you prefer to talk to your mother or to an auntie or even to an uncle? In that aspect, I'm able to now walk with you in a journey of breaking that information to your family. If you're not comfortable, I'll be able to let you do it by yourself. But I will be a support system. Because at the same time, remember that you are already in a panic mode. What will my parents say? What will they do?
What will my friends say?
Yes, and also the pressure, the society. Inajulikana we ni mtoto mzuri. All of a sudden, it was probably a one-time issue. It was not even something that you can even narrate, but it happened. So as a girl, the first thing is to understand, who are you close with? Is it your dad? And also I have to talk to you about, what if you go home and they tell you have to leave? What happens? Do you have a grandmother? If no other family member who will be able to support you, we have safe houses. Then we can begin from there. We can engage social workers, and also knowing from the location you're in also, it will have to involve the church, the social services. All those are dimensions of how to go about it.
Awesome.
Yes.
It's very important for us to remember that the girl child is vulnerable, yes? But many people tend to forget about the boy child.
Absolutely.
You know, having boys as one-on-one with you. So what would you tell the young men?
We need to start having a conversation with our young men about sexuality. There is sex and sexuality. Sexuality is who they are as men, and they don't have to affirm their sexuality by doing sex. It doesn't make you more human. It doesn't affirm you. It doesn't give you any trophy. There is the right time to do sex or to have sex. But if we affirm our young boys about their sexuality, then the peer pressure of becoming like others will come down. Their identity. We're in a situation where our society at the same time is focusing more on building the girl child. The boy child is feeling left out. And remember, they are more wired by how they are productive by work, what they are doing. So in the essence of the society, the 21st century generation, they think that having girls or having a relationship is what is going to affirm them. No. And if as a young man or a boy in primary, you find yourself in a situation where your girlfriend is pregnant. Number one, don't run away from it. take charge and take responsibility. It is a hard conversation because you are a child raising another child.
Yeah.
But can you have that conversation with your parents? If not so, then stop engaging in such activities. So for our boy child, I would tell them that sex does not define you. It does not make you to become more of a man. No. Sex is a gift from God.
Wow. When I'm speaking to the girls and boys in schools, when we are doing our mentorship,
Yes.
I always tell them, sex sio sabuni. It doesn't end. You just have to wait for the time that is right.
Yes,
So for me, I will also increase, suggest that, speak to the boys and the girls out there. You will have sex. It's there. It's natural.
Yes.
It's a natural process. But you just need to know that there is a time for sex.
Everything.
There is a time for everything. Even in the Bible, there is a time for everything. So focus on the right thing now, and God will direct you, and then everything else will flow.
Yes.
Now, D, what's your parting shot?
Wow.
What's your parting shot?
I would want to tell to the parents, love your children. More so, listen with an understanding to what they are speaking, even when they are in silence. To the young girls, love yourself, know who you are. And to the young men, to the young boys, love yourself, know who you are. Yes.
Wow. We can't finish this book in one day. So thank you so much for availing yourself even for the interview, sharing your story, because it takes a lot for you to be able to sit in front of an audience and share your story from a vulnerable point of view. And we are honored to have you here with us.
Thank you.
On behalf of TAI and Ep01 as an organization, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for joining us and ask you to continue viewing us and listening to the other programs that are coming. And remember, we are not supposed to live our lives for others. Live your life for who you are. Know who you are in Christ. When you know your identity in Christ, everything else will flow. Thank you so much and be blessed.